Jump over. We'll watch a little bit of Dice. In fact, no, that's not the article I had. I had a AP article, I thought.
Trump deployed 800 members of the National Guard to patrol the streets of Washington, D.C. to help reduce the crime problem there, a city which, what a surprise, is over 40% black. This in the wake of the infamous Doge employee who went by the nickname Big Balls.
Let me remind folks, too, that when Reagan went into office, you can go back and watch when Reagan was elected and take a look at those videos of Washington, D.C. during the inauguration. I mean, it's just seas and seas of white people. That America is gone, thanks to the cucks and the schmucks.
Being viciously assaulted on the streets by, well, of course, a gang of black teens. And so, of course, Democrats, especially a certain demographic of them, are very upset about this. But first, subscribe to my channel if you're new here, because obviously you're not going to get politically incorrect and honest commentary like this anywhere else.
I think it's really important to be clear about what is going on here and a relatively small crime problem.
Relatively small. There have only been 100 murders in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital so far this year. Just one every other day.
I've been mugged twice in D.C. I was almost carjacked, you all know. My father was shot while working in D.C. It is anti-white hell. I mean, this is how they'll lie. This is how 10 more years from now, 20 more years from now, white people will be getting mowed down in major cities like Washington, D.C., and you'll have anti-whites like this pig here that'll be saying it's a minor crime problem, just like the anti-white, non-white government in South Africa says about what's happening to us there.
It's being used for specific authoritarian purposes that we know and understand. So
authoritarianism now.
When I go to D.C., I'm not afraid of losing my wallet so much as I'm afraid of losing my vote. I'm not afraid of losing my wallet so much as I'm afraid that my children's freedom to breathe will be stolen in a world where climate change policy is non-existent. I'm afraid that the future of middle-class people will be stolen.
Actually, it's being stolen in large part due to the tens of millions of illegal aliens that have invaded our country and are sucking off of our tax dollars for room, board, to pay for their anchor babies to be born in hospitals, to pay to feed and house and educate them.
Right.
So there is carjacking,
and of course,
there is a carjacking
but you got to worry about two things. You got to worry about two things at the same time.
My point.
Joe Scarborough knows what a hellhole Washington, D.C. is. He used to live there and undoubtedly knows friends of his who have been mugged on the street there.
You don't think more police make streets safer?
No, Joe, I'm a black woman in America. I do not always think that more police make streets safer. When you walk down the streets of Georgetown, you don't see a police officer on every corner, but you don't feel unsafe. So what is it about talking about places like Southeast D.C., right, Ward 8, if you will, that people say, well, we need more officers to make us safe? I think we have to rethink what safety means in America.
Safety means living in a predominantly white community, but you're not.
I was mugged in Georgetown, and there are a lot of police there because of the white erasure of our norms.
Not supposed to say that. Otherwise, people like Ben Shapiro will call you a racist, like you did to Scott Adams when he pointed out that simple solution.
And why is Southeast DC so violent? The street signs, the concrete, the trees that grow there.
Was trying desperately to paint blue cities as out of control or crime-ridden, but 9 out of 10 of the most dangerous cities in America are in red states.
Actually, that's not the own that you think it is. And by the way, is this Dr. Mike, that famous YouTube doctor who bragged about being the most followed doctor on social media, who, of course, encouraged everybody to stay home during the lockdowns, but then was captured on camera out partying himself? Let's take a moment to input these cities into ChatGPT, shall we, to confirm what we already know is the case. ChatGPT, what is the...
What he's going to do now is shows the percentage of black people who live in all of these different cities that this guy was saying they're in red states, and so it's the fault of Republicans.
And over from the president, from his team, Stephen Miller saying it's like Baghdad in Ethiopia.
Again, would they behave according to our norms, which we align with? No raping, pillaging, because if we do it, we'll be fried for it as well. So would they behave? Yes. Yes. And you see how quickly all people can be turned around. Where you're allowed to be lawless because of the white erasure, you can be turned around really quickly. So I don't expect all of those losers who attacked me when I was making those arguments over those years to reach out and say, wow, you were completely right all along. But they should. You know, these are the kind of people that telemarketers regret calling. That's how awful they are. But they should still reach out and apologize.
They seem to hold their harshest criticism sometimes for cities that are majority black and brown. Do you see that, and what do you think that means?
Well, I think that means 30% of the population are black, and they statistically commit 50% of the total violent crime per capita.
You know, so many white people know this stat, and it's actually a really, really old stat, long before the internet was this robust. But after people didn't even know what the internet was. And wouldn't it be nice if instead of knowing this stat, they knew maybe the concept anti-whiteism? Wouldn't that be nice? And thank God Mark Dice is sharing that concept with his audience. Because if as many white people knew the concept anti-whiteism is know about the stat 1350, we would be well on our way to ending our victimization and the recapture of our destiny.
Meaning they are 10 times more likely to commit crimes than white people. And what is going on with all of these lesbian police chiefs in major cities? Here is the chief of police in the District of Criminals, clearly a DEI hire who knows nothing.
What the chain of command is now?
Can you tell us what the chain of command is now, was the question.
What does that mean?
Well, is it Pam Bondi speaking to the mayor? Not you?
What is the chain of command? Asks the chief of police. But speaking of crime, Beto O'Rourke, who was hailed as the next John F. Kennedy by the liberal media before the American people realized that he's just a buffoon and had to drop out quite early of the 2020 presidential race.
Damn, he's showing 2 clips that I showed.
Is encouraging it, as usual.
You're not going to let him stop us. Are you with me on that?
Well, it's O'Rourke, but it might not be the same clip.
You're not going to let President Trump stop you from committing crimes? Well, we'll see.
Ándale. It also means, as Mark was saying earlier, we don't await the punch thrown by these would-be fascists to land. We punch first, and we punch harder. We want California and New Jersey and Illinois and Maryland and every other state where the Democrats hold the governor's mansion, the assembly, and the state senate to redraw their congressional districts now, not wait for Texas to move first, to maximize Democratic Party advantage. Listen.
You see the difference between Republicans, and I'll take a look at what you all are saying now. The difference between Republicans and what they're getting through a singular individual in Donald Trump. There isn't a Donald Trump ideology. There's no bottling of the current Donald Trump. The current Donald Trump is not even the Donald Trump from his first term. Everybody has hero hoped for this guy. The Democrats made him into this anomaly, acting in ways that Republicans never act. And on the other side, you have an entire ideology of vile individuals willing to do anything, whether legal or not, to arrive at the outcome they desire. Who's going to win this contest? How long will it be after this Trump, or even if this version of Trump becomes a lame duck? How long will it be before everything begins to fall into the hands and laps of the Democrat Party in the United States? They're going to legalize everybody, legalize all their families. They're going to absolutely flood this country. So politics was not going to do this. Politics was not going to fix this. I guess I need to get more into the, maybe this sardonic mood of, I've been ringing the bell, the fire alarm, for decades. And there are so few good white people out there. It's, it is what it is. So these are the outcomes that they deserve, not the outcomes that we deserve. Maybe we will need to, at some point, I don't know, become gypsies. We need to buy Winnebagos, be able to set up living someplace at one point and then move and stay on the move, Mad Max style, because white people don't want to be good. They don't want to be good folk. They don't want to do what's right, what's moral. You just saw the cucks. You see how many people the schmucks are turning all of, I thought I was going to get a percentage of the race conscious, a good percentage of the race conscious people to pick up the practice of Go Free because it works. And they're not there, but they are showing up for Lil Nicky as their leader now. So it's only gotten worse. That's only gotten worse. And if you are in this community and you're like on the fence, maybe Fuentes is your leader, then get out. It's incompatible. We're not on this. We're not going the same direction. What he preaches, what the schmucks preach, is incompatible with white well-being. So you got to make a choice. You either going to be white positive or, in this case, a schmuck.
You may say to yourself, well, those aren't the rules. There are no refs in this game. F the rules. We are going to win whatever it takes. We're going to take this to them in every way that we can.
And that wasn't just something he came up with off the top of his head in the heat of the moment. These are his new talking points.
We are in a basketball game right now, if you'll excuse the metaphor, where the refs have left the arena.
Because the Supreme Court ruled that those district judges can no longer stop President Trump from issuing his executive orders.
And the other side is just clobbering the out of us, just punching us in the face, kicking us in the nuts. And we're kind of throwing our hands up and we're asking the crowd, the people of America, hey, do you see what's going on here? This is unfair.
It's unfair. President Trump is closing the borders and putting an end to DEI and putting troops on the street in order to reduce crime.
This isn't the rules that we agreed to play by. Well, who cares about the rules right now? Punch back, kick back, dunk over their heads, and win some power.
And I didn't think it was possible, but many celebrities have come down.
All right.